Hi guys, welcome back. My name's Hunter, and this is Zach.
And this is our best guess.
All right, so today we are going to be talking about why the world is fucked up. We've been operating under the assumption that everyone thinks that the world is messed up, and that is probably not correct. So we figured we'd give you our take on it, why we think the world is where it is today.
Yeah. And just to keep things light, we're going to be doing the beer thing again.
Right. Today we have Mass Ascension. It is an IPA by Ex Novo. And if you guys are drinking it along with us at home, we appreciate it. And if you can't drink, all the same, cheers.
Cheers.
All right, Zach. Why is the world messed up?
Anime.
There you go. One sentence.
There you go.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. That's it. Honestly, like it's really hard to pinpoint like where things are messed up, just because it's subjective. First off, some people think things are a good thing, some people think things are a bad thing, but I think a good place to start is like just anecdotally. So I'm in my early 20s, and right now, if I wanted to go to a dealership and buy a new car under payments, because obviously I don't have the money to buy a new car.
Right, most people don't.
Right,
That's
yeah.
a big roadblock in a lot of people's way.
Right, exactly. So like if I were to go and put payments down and buy a new car, the insurance alone would be around $500 to $700 a month, or $200 a month if I pay $2,500 down right away.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah, there are a lot of these weird roadblocks that just they pile up, and as you enter into adulthood, it's almost an unfair task for these kids to like move out, get a job, go to college, grab a car, move forward in their career.
Yeah.
Maintain their social life, their relationships, have those be healthy and productive.
Yeah.
That's unfair. And how did we structure the world to be that way? Why did we structure it to be that way? Why are we imposing such almost harsh penalties on people becoming adults?
And something about the like harsh penalty thing, and like you said, having healthy relationships or just healthy being in general. Us as people, we're way separated from the idea of like helping each other out, or like having
easily
a community, having those healthy relationships.
Yeah,
like
well,
right now, something I've noticed is like a lot of people are really only into a relationship, or like not necessarily a romantic relationship, but
interpersonal.
Right, interpersonal relationship, whether it's friendship, whatever, if they have something to gain out of it.
And you hear it all the time, especially from older people, well, we used to be a community neighborhood or whatever. And that stuff to me has devolved into toxic things like HOAs.
Yeah,
which,
exactly.
The old world, the old way that we used to look at each other, the way that we used to interact, the friendly, hey, if you need help or you need bus money, sure, here's $1. That way is gone. We live in constant fear of each other, and that is one of the ways that the world has messed up. And is that necessarily our fault? I don't think so. I think that
I grew up in that. I didn't grow up with a strong sense of community. I didn't grow up with friends, really. So
that's fair.
I did have Boy Scouts, but Boy Scouts is something you have to like pay to be in.
Right. And you pay to have a community.
Right, exactly. It wasn't like
HOAs all over again?
I didn't meet any of my neighbors, really. I mean, I knew, like, maybe one of them that might...
In all of my life, in all the places that I've lived, I don't think I've ever known any neighbors. Not on, like, a friendly level. I knew who they were. I could identify them on sight, but I never thought to even have that kind of relationship. That's not a thing.
Even in churches now, like, there is a sort of, like, community, but it's not so much... it doesn't feel super personal. It feels a lot more like checking each other, like
a weird business transaction almost.
No, almost like a competition. Like it feels
okay. Like I like Jesus more than
I like Jesus more than you. I am more, and like I guess part of the whole like relationship in church is supposed to be they're supposed to keep you accountable for certain things, but
I mean to a degree.
To a degree, right? And the way we do it now is like
I mean, the religion itself is supposed to keep you accountable, technically, right?
And it doesn't feel like it's super close. It feels a lot more like it feels separated. I don't know. I feel separated from.
I think the whole world feels like that. Even in supermarket lines, people. I remember when I was a kid. My mom is a little different, but she used to chat with everybody. And now it's people don't want to talk. They don't want to make eye contact. They want to be as far away from pandemic aside, far away from each other as possible.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that stems from our failures as people to recognize when systems are breaking down. We've lived in these systems for so long. We've gotten so comfortable with just them. It's a frog boiling, like slow boil.
That is a good point, because we used to have those communities like in churches or the more neighborhood community,
Right?
And now as it starts to get further and further separated, they don't have the same integrity as they once did. And I
agree with that. I think a lot of things have lost integrity, have lost even trustworthiness. You can't trust your banks anymore. You can't trust the government anymore. You can't trust the police anymore.
Everyone's trying to get a cut of everything else.
Big pie.
Yeah, we've become very, very take for yourself and screw everyone else.
Right, but did we come up with that idealism? Was that something that... I don't know. I guess my question to everyone would be, did we create that, or is that a symptom of things that have gone wrong? Like, did we purposefully say, okay, well, Bob down the street's screwing everybody left and right, and he's getting money out of it. He's getting a better life out of it. Do we emulate that, or is it because everything's breaking down around us? We just want to be in our little bubble, like we talked about previously.
I don't know. What's up?
Door is closed. I told you she hates closed doors.
Should I let her out?
Yeah, she'll want back in. Sorry, everybody. The cat. Just so everybody knows.
You don't even want out, you asshole.
Her name is Bagheera. I don't think I've ever talked about her name. Her name is Bagheera. I found her on the street and adopted her. She's my cat.
She pays rent.
In yelling. Anyway, I think truly that if we want the world to get to a better place, we have to all, no matter what side of the aisle, no matter religious affiliation, personal disinterest, we all have to get together and we have to focus on these things that are clearly wrong. Things like, where's our tax money going? Things like, why is my bank breaking down? Why is it stealing from us? How are we allowing, this whole corporation thing to take over America? Why are we allowing this to happen?
But yeah, and so even with that, like you said, just if we're talking about issues, maybe we don't think that our bank is stealing from us. Maybe we don't think any of that. But there's probably something else that we think is wrong and that we can address.
Right. Hell, make social committees. Like, oh, I don't think the bank is stealing from us, but I sure as hell don't want to pay taxes. Like, bro, go to the tax people. Like, you all go figure that out. Come on.
Yeah. And I think a good example of something you brought up is earlier, like outside the podcast, was we were talking about home improvement, like fixing up a home on your own. And now, like, me and you are both into that. And we know because you can look up things on YouTube. Like, there's tons of help. There's tons of things you can do to do it on your own.
There's a super shallow buy-in for doing almost anything on your own nowadays.
Do it yourself, yeah, DIY.
Yeah, DIY, there you go.
And people are really afraid of it, that they're willing to spend money on, like, tons of stuff just to do it, which isn't a bad thing. Like, there are people that make money off of that, and that's
of course,
fine.
That's their profession, and they should be there. I agree with that. But there's a lot of stuff that you can do on your own that's not difficult at all. It's as easy as changing a starter in a car.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Most people don't know how to do that, but it's super simple for the most part, for most models. Yeah. And you just... I think I talked about this last time. A lot of people don't have that willingness to dive into new experiences. And that's an issue with the world. That's something that I think is fucked up with the world.
Maybe something I can say that is like fucked up with the world is, um, like you said, with that willingness to dive in. Well, first, it it's in one aspect, uh, it's what we idolize. Is so like doing it yourself does require a level of effort and like just kind of learning, but as a culture, as a society, we've kind of viewed learning as like not cool and like
Yeah.
work as not cool. So
Nerd.
yeah, so like either I mean even in some ways we idolize learning, but we don't idolize it in the sense of being able to apply it, like being able to fix a starter in your car.
Right. We idolize the piece of paper.
The piece of paper, the I'm smarter because I read this book over this book or whatever, and it, it it really is again with that piece of paper. It feels like we're trying to sort of be above one another instead of because I mean now with
I can
like
understand that. Yeah, that perspective makes sense, especially because I mean, it is. It's basically bragging rights. Even if you think about it in a literal sense of, well, I can get better jobs, it's bragging rights to the job.
to
like,
the job,
hey,
right? Like, hey, I got this piece of paper, and the thing about like the thing that I think is makes that very clear that it's kind of useless is there's a lot of people now that have college degrees that can't do anything with them.
Oh, yeah, I
They
know
try
plenty
to
of
get
people who
jobs.
have gone into totally separate careers outside of what they learned in school. And you know what? That's fine. If that's your calling or you can't find a job and that's just the way you make ends meet, that's not a problem. What
No.
the issue becomes, why are we requiring that?
Right.
Why
right.
why is that the standard level for entry
And-
jobs in some cases, which is crazy. I understand having, again, specific knowledge in an area and being required to know it, but chances are that there are people out there who could learn that just by being shown.
Well, yeah, and no person is competent on their first day of any job, really.
No, not
and,
even if
and
you've gone to
that. So when I say that people aren't getting jobs even with this college degree, it's because a lot of work now notices that like there are people graduating that don't know how to work at all. They don't like they may know on paper like what a starter does or like how where it's located in the car in a specific model car or like how it interacts with the different parts of the car. But then when it comes to just doing it, they don't know how to.
Right. They don't have the hands-on experience, which is again something that they also require on top of that piece of paper, which is an unrealistic standard that we know.
So-
and there's another thing that's screwed up with the world. Why are jobs
I
raising their standards continuously when it's virtually the same work, sometimes even less?
So
Yes.
I think I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. When we were talking about like uh, something that's like wrong with society is we're not as close. Well, it kind of goes back to we don't like each other.
I mean, that's true. It's
And-
very popular to be, what is that thing? We'll hate everyone together.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And like romanticized.
Yeah, and it's very romanticized. It's very romanticized to not like people, and I think that's wrong. I honestly think because here's the thing about like being born is we all have that experience.
Here's the thing about being born.
And we've all been born, and like this place kind of sucks. Like and like
I mean, truthfully, yeah, it's
like even
it's
if
not a
you-
choice.
yeah, even if you are like born rich or whatever, there's still going to be hardships. There's going to be pain. There's going to
Well,
be
everybody's
unpleasantness.
difficulties are subjective.
Are subjective, right? But the thing that is in common with all of us is that it kind of sucks. It kind of
It's
sucks
true.
to be born. You didn't ask for it.
And I know a lot of people who go through life with that, overarching positivity. Life is great. We're just gonna, move forward, do the best we can, and that's perfectly fine. But for you to have that strict mentality means that the things around you are screwed up. I mean that obviously is my opinion. It's very anecdotal, but if you have to have everything's gonna be fine, this is a good life, we're just gonna keep going type of mentality, it means that it's not a natural
Well, some
state for
people
you.
have a good life, and
No, I don't
and-
disagree with that, but even still, like having to have that mentality be forced upon yourself is not healthy. It's not a healthy way to go about living.
I don't know if it's healthy or not. Like I don't really want to speak on that, but it is like some people can have a good life. The issue is there's a lot of people who don't, and I mean some of that is for some people it is self-inflicted that they don't have a good life, but it's still self-inflicted. Like we should probably tell these people like, hey, things can be better. And
Right.
that's something that I also believe is we're all born. It kind of sucks to be born. Like we're all here, but we're here already. We were already born.
No going back.
There's no going back. But even though some things do suck about life, it doesn't have to suck.
No, I agree with that. I think that if we really put in the effort, it can get better. Most things
Oh, yeah.
can get better. Most things can be solved. There's a finite amount of difficulty that you have to go through
Hmm.
without your consent.
Right. Yeah, and that's just
I feel like that's just how life
That's-
is. Yeah.
that's just being born. Like really,
Right.
it is. You're kind of forced into it. And the thing that I so maybe just another anecdotal story is I started working when I was pretty young. So like I think I was like 15, 16. I was young.
I was about the same age. I think I was 14.
Yeah, I was working at like fast food. That was when I got like my first real job. Like I had done jobs and stuff before that, but like I was working at Sonic, and I was just happy to be making money. I was happy to be working, and like it was hard, but I would always just work more, just because like I kind of viewed it as fun. I viewed it as fun to make money, and I thought I could make more money if I worked harder, which was kind of true.
I mean, it is to a degree, yeah.
Right, but it still sucked because there would be days where it was busy and like I was the only one putting in effort and I cared about it, but there were other people that didn't really care about it, and it was hard. And you
Oh,
know, in every job, like even in work that I didn't like, I still did it, and like even if I didn't like it, but that feeling of like not liking it is so sorry. What I was going to connect this to was recently, like last year, I think I got a job at Sonic again, just a second job because we worked together.
Right. He had an
Like a side
tertiary
job, right?
Yeah.
And I was working at Sonic, and there was this kid. He was about that age. He was about like 16, and he was in high school, and he was having a tough time because I was older and I knew my way around the kitchen better, and I was because before when I first started I was a car hop, but this time I started as a kitchen area, and I worked in kitchen before, but because I knew the position and because I had job experience, they put me at a higher position and I was more in charge of things. And I would tell him like to do certain things. I was like, "Come on, we got to do this. We got to. I need this. I need fries. I need you to put this down, especially when you see that on the screen." And just the work itself, he would get overwhelmed because he would have other stuff going on. He would have stuff with school.
Right,
He'd have
yeah.
stuff with family, and there was a couple times where he would just break down crying. And it wasn't because I was yelling at him. It wasn't because of this. He would just say like, I'm not happy. Like and he would like threaten to kill himself. And there was a lead there. Her name was Liz, and she would go and comfort him, be like, it's okay, like blah blah blah. And at a certain point, I had to kind of like say to him like, look, dude, like we already have a short life. We only get 80 years, so no matter how much, or like around 80 years.
Right,
That's
right, I
like
get
that's
it.
like the average. So like yes, it does suck, and like I'm sorry that you're going through this, tough time, but like just it it'll be over soon enough. It's pretty much what I told him.
Right.
It was
Well,
like
it's all a temporary thing. People
Right.
lose track of that.
right, and the temporariness of it makes me sad because I've had some very good experiences in life, and some people get so just lost in that pain and like the hatred of things that they push it on to others, and it makes life kind of worse off
Oh, yeah.
for that
It's
person.
The kick the dog thing.
Right, exactly. And I it just bugs me that people don't think things can get better. They are very, very pessimistic and just angry, and people are getting more and more angry with each other,
and
with
aggressive and violent
aggressive, right? Because
desperate. The desperation is getting worse because not only social influences, but poverty is increasing. I know it doesn't seem like it. People keep saying, "Oh, well, there's only, the unemployment rate's going down." Well, that doesn't matter if you're still paying people too little to afford an apartment on their own, or too little to.
Well, unemployment's gone way up again with
Right. Well,
COVID.
It's going to be fluctuating forever. I mean, in the last few years overall. They've always bragged like, oh, unemployment's going down, but being employed part-time at Walmart doesn't get you an apartment. It just doesn't. Even here where we have actual we'll call them unsavory areas of town, which are very cheap. It still doesn't get you.
low cost areas.
There you go. Low income cost areas. And that's not, to me, that seems like a good reason why the world is screwed up. That's not fair in my eyes. Like I believe that if we are to create a society, we ought to have a society that at least gives you the option of being independent.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the heart of freedom, right? Independence.
Right. And that's actually a good point, because something I noticed with my work is when I was young, working at Sonic, I wanted to work a lot. And I wanted to make that money, because the more I worked, the more money I'd make. And they literally legally couldn't let me work more, because if I worked more, that would put me in the full-time bracket, to where then on paper they have to give me more benefits or whatever.
Right, which is just a greedy corporate nonsense.
Because then they're allowed to push me to that limit, and then I don't get any of those benefits or whatever.
Right.
When
and
I
it's
could
still over half the time you work. It's like 30 hours or something like that, right?
Right,
32?
exactly. I was working 32-hour weeks, and I wanted more. I wanted more money, which if they let me, even without the benefits, I would be making more money on my own at a younger age, and
right.
that would be a good thing. I wouldn't need the benefits. I was young. I don't need health insurance at a young age.
Which is another thing that's all screwed up. We screwed up the healthcare system. I don't know why or how, but God, it's so messed up at this point. A few years ago, in 2018, I lost my job at the beginning of the year. By, I think it was March, something like that, February, March. In April, I had a tear inside of my stomach that made me, and excuse me, this is graphic imagery maybe? I don't know. I threw up blood, a lot of blood, almost half of my blood is what I remember. I went through, had surgery, stayed in the hospital for 4 days. They released me. I'm fine. But the medical bills came in, and I got, how they send the hospital always sends the bill to your house, even though your insurance is supposed to take care of it.
Right.
Well, I was on a back draft of Medicaid, whatever, and they took care of all of it, which I was uber thankful for, because, God, it was over $35,000 for 4 days in the hospital and a minor surgery. They didn't open me up or anything. They went through my throat and stitched me together, and that was it. There was no I didn't even get prescribed pain meds. They gave me Uber Tylenol, the super Tylenol, and they were take 4 of these and then just take ibuprofen for the rest of it. And I was like,
right.
Whatever. Eat mashed potatoes every day. But yeah, $35,000 for a life-saving thing. That's true. And a lot of the argument is, oh well, any amount of money is worth saving your life. No, it's not. $35,000 is a shit ton of money.
Crippling, yeah.
Yeah, even if I was working the job I'm working now, I would be paying that off for forever. Just because I can't afford to shell out the extra money to get it paid off sooner.
So, with my experience with the healthcare system is trying to get an appointment.
Well, especially now, of course.
Especially now, yeah. And
I tried to make a doctor's appointment this year because our work makes us do a mandatory checkup every year. Um, yeah, I tried to make one this year, and I tried to make one this year in October, and they told me they were booked through December, and to go find another medical professional. They told me to go find another medical professional. The people who are going to take my money.
And something that I think is like annoying about that is, we've created a system where it's you have to go through insurance. Like, there's not a lot of private option where you can just walk in to, like...
Right, or if you do that, it'll cost you probably literally an arm and a leg.
It'll cost you the same that it would cost, like, insurance companies to pay for that. Except insurance companies have the
giant bank.
The giant bank, right, exactly. And the giant collective of money that they get monthly from every person putting in. And,
I would be interested to know how many people actually use their insurance in their lifetime. Like, how much per person. Like, if it averages out at, like,
right.
Oh, you only use $2,000 over the course of your life. Like, would that be worth it? Probably, just to pay it off yourself.
Right, exactly. And that's why I'm more of, like, a free market guy, is, like, I think if we had more freedom to just go to, like, the McDonald's of healthcare or whatever and just get a checkup, like... You can do that. It would be cheaper because it would be, instead of having to
just
deal...
some, like, bone saw in the back.
yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, if you're getting a flu shot, like, there's not going to be a bone saw. Like, you don't got to worry about getting your organs stolen. Like, I would go to the McDonald's of
went to get a flu shot, lost my liver.
Yeah, exactly. Like... Damn, this is a nice flu shot. This feels good. I'm going to sleep for 36 hours.
Yeah, well, the healthcare system's messed up. The education system
is really
god awful. Especially here. I mean, we're probably very biased because New Mexico is one of the worst, if not the
49th?
worst. 49th?
49th in education.
Yeah, it's not great. And I don't think that's the fault of the teachers necessarily. I
that's
think
why I'm retarded.
Well, you were born that way. Can't use that word, Zach.
I know. As soon as I said it, I was like, "Damn, I can't." That's not a. Sorry, I'm stupid. I wasn't talking about mentally disabled people. I was just.
He's talking about himself.
I am personally slow.
I don't think you can say that either, but
I
that's
can't
fine.
say slow.
You know what?
I'll say stupid. Like, can I say stupid?
I don't know. I have no idea. There are many offensive things now.
I am
below average.
I am not smart.
There you go. But
I have to say it in like positive terms.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so like I'm not smart.
It's not negative. We can't be afraid.
Right,
of that.
Exactly.
I don't think it's the fault of the teachers for the education system. Everyone keeps putting blame on teachers.
I don't think so either.
I don't know how they can. What are they supposed to do?
Part of it is the teachers are okay. First, with like No Kid Left Behind, it's people that
screwed up my education specifically.
That screwed up my education too, specifically because I'd be in these classes where I would be super like psyched to be learning. I'd always be raising my hand, like first one to try to answer the question. She's like the teacher or whatever. I'd be like, all right, well, next person. Like you've already answered, Zach.
Right.
Like let's call on someone else. And no one else cared. No one else wanted to learn. And then there would be people who were like not smart per se, and then they would be pushed up to the same grade as me, and like I would get bullied by them for being a nerd or being a whatever. Right. So like then it would just continue until like eventually in high school it didn't matter what you learned, what you knew, what you didn't. You were going to graduate just the same. They were going to push you out.
It's very hard to fail, especially here. It's very hard to fail high school.
Yeah.
I knew somebody who passed high school with all D's and one F.
Yeah.
And all they did was they took an extra credit class in the summer.
Yeah.
They still graduated. They just had to take an extra class in the summer. It was like 3 weeks or something.
And the thing that I think sucks about that is like you don't... like we were talking about earlier with like just knowing how to do things, like being able to fix a car. You don't need school. Like school's important, education's important, but when you're putting these kids into an education system that uses tax money and you're forcing them in there, if they don't want to be there, they don't want to learn.
They're not going to.
They're not going to, and it's a drain on that money.
Right, we're wasting tax dollars paying for people who don't want an education to do nothing with that education. I know most adults older than me who still don't know high school facts.
Oh, yeah.
Things like gravity or how the world works or
Yeah.
how the weather system works.
How anything works.
Yeah, I have...
You can, like, asking them about anything deeper than, like, oh, do you like this food? Is, like, blowing their mind. They don't...
People can...
I don't mean to harp on our friend from work, but she asked if an insect is an animal.
Right. Which, at the time, was really funny. I think she misspoke, but
I think she misspoke, too,
those
yeah.
are the type of
Right.
things that you encounter. Like, no, she asked, are snails animals?
Are snails animals, yeah.
She asked, is a snail an animal? And it was such a weird moment because you're like, yeah, all the things are animals.
Yeah, exactly.
But those are the type of that's the type of education that we're giving out to people, and they don't care about it, and they're not going to remember it, and it's not going to apply to their life. It's that whole adage, I'll never use algebra again, which is mostly true in life, unless you're going into a technical field or a manufacturing field or...
I really would have loved to continue school. I would have loved to go to college.
I loved going to college. That was one of the coolest experiences of my life. I found people I was like-minded, and I had conversations that I would never have had.
The only time I could go... so when I did start going to college was because my work paid for it. And I only went for one semester because I also had an apartment and I was working. And then me and my girlfriend broke up at the time. So, like, I was like, okay, this is too much. I'm going to step back from it.
The nice thing about college specifically is that life happens. And I almost wish that high school or just the education system overall was sort of structured like that. Like, okay, well, you've reached this level.
Exactly.
You can come back when you want to.
Yeah, exactly. Then actually the piece of paper that you get would be worth more. And it would be worth more even for bragging rights. It would be more like a level system where, like, you have that level attached to you where you can say, like...
Because you opted for it instead of this expected
path where, like,
out.
You have to pay for college. And, like, a lot of my rich friends who didn't even want to go to college went to college because that's what was expected of them. And then, like...
Right. You get shitty degrees that you don't care about and you're never going to use because that's what you're supposed to do.
And then they don't get jobs. And then they complain about how the system is broken. And then they vote for things that make life harder for us, the working class, who, we're not in college. We don't have those degrees that allow us to get whatever job.
Right.
And then it's both of us being on this... It's them, like, lowering us as well as lowering themselves in the job market.
Right. Just to because that's what is expected.
Yeah. And it's it's all fueled by, like, that negative, like... I don't deserve this, but you deserve this. Like,
right, they're trying to step on people to get up the ladder.
Right, exactly. I've heard that before. The step up.
I truly, I've said this I think a few times to you in the past, but there's this theory that I've had for a lot of my life, which is we shouldn't tell kids that they're going to be doctors, presidents, and astronauts.
No.
We shouldn't go to a classroom and say, well, any of you could be president. Any of you could be a doctor. I think that's a wrong expectation to set. It's not untrue, but it's the wrong way to go about education. You shouldn't say, oh, you can be these magnificent things.
I think we should say you can be whatever you want to be if you put in the work.
Yeah, we should encourage people to be, if you can pursue your interests is what we should be telling them. We should say... You want to be a welder? Go be a welder. Go work with metal. Go be a blacksmith.
Yeah, definitely. You want to build robots, kid? Okay, well these are the things that are involved in building robots, and you can be any one of those steps.
Yeah, you can be at any level, and that's where you should pursue.
Yeah.
I remember I was in middle school, and I didn't realize at the time, but as I grew older, I realized how gross this question is. They ask you, what do you want to do for a career? Mm-hmm. At, 11 years old or 13 or whatever you are. That's grotesque. You shouldn't ask children what they want to be as an adult because that's beyond the conception of them at the moment. Even if they are, mature for their age or whatever nonsense that you're lying to yourself about.
You should ask them what they like.
Yeah. Help them
them figure out their interests, right.
You know what I told them? Marine biologist. I fucking hate the ocean.
Everyone,
I can't even swim.
Everyone, like, even now, like, I hear people say, like, my little sister wants to be a marine biologist, and, like, it was just because one time we went to SeaWorld, and, like, the lady there said, you can be a marine biologist, too. And, like, I don't know. She loves archery and horses. That's not in the ocean at all. Like,
just riding on a boat on a horse with a boat.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I'm gonna study the hell out of you.
She could be a pro archer, or she can ride horses, or even like just not worry about
open
either
a
one
ranch.
Of those things. Yeah, just have her own ranch that she gets from having a job and then making good decisions with her money, so she can live out her hobbies and just be happy. Like, she doesn't have to be a marine biologist.
Oh, yeah.
Like a
and
scientist.
In high school, I chose a medical field. That was my first semester of college, was medical classes, and I realized that I friggin' hated it. I hated it to the point where I just didn't even want to be there anymore. I switched in the middle of the semester. I started a new set of classes halfway through by talking to the dean, and I still passed them because I hated the medical field.
Oh, yeah.
I had no interest in it.
Yeah.
I went to computer engineering, and I instantaneously, this is where I need to be.
Yeah.
And I didn't get there through anybody's help except my own.
And I'm a little bit bitter because I know what I want to do, and like I know what clicks for me, I know what I'm good at, but I can't afford it. I don't like.
There's a huge blockade on education.
Huge buy-in.
Yeah, yeah. And if you can't afford the buy-in, it's even larger, which is nonsensical and backwards.
Yeah.
We want educated people in America to improve America, but we aren't willing to get people in the door. It's just people who can afford it.
It's just
that's elitism at its finest.
Yeah.
That's the definition of elitism.
Yeah. Definitely. And people really reinforce that fact.
Yeah, and then you get that whole, well, if you get a scholarship thing, in high school...
get a scholarship and pay for, what,
like a
$300?
Yeah. I got scholarships. I had scholarships. Were they worth it? No, they didn't. I think the highest one I got was $12,000 and a semester, and I paid for one semester of my classes, which is nonsense. That's nonsense. That's not a scholarship. That's like well, now you're in it. You got to go keep going.
Right, exactly. Now you got to pay for the rest on your own dime.
Exactly. Yeah, well, education's screwed up. The working system, all jobs are screwed up. There's so much bureaucracy and nonsense in every workplace ever.
I think so too, and part of that is tax structure, because all the money you make, it's not yours.
We actually recently got I haven't told you this, but well, we'll talk about that later. But we got a bonus for people who work in my full-time position and Zach's.
The $2?
Yeah, the $2. And Zach's part-time
Mike's gonna
position.
try to get me next week.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Dope.
Sorry, that's
outside.
Yeah.
But that $2, one, isn't paid on our differential. We work night shifts. Two, is withheld at 22% because it's a bonus, even though it's taxed at the same rate as your pay. And three, doesn't is not included in the calculation before overtime. Yeah, that's just ways to tell us, hey, we appreciate you, we're going to give you this extra money, and then have them cut back as much money as they can.
Because they can say they're adding $2 per hour, but it's literally just that. Like, and they even just add up how much you worked, and then they just say, all right, times that by 2.
Yeah, and even if they did the full $2 full stop, that's still not that much money.
No, it's like $64 a night.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that's nice. I like that. Thank you. Except for not. It's now, I think the raise ends up being like $1.20.
Yeah, but
even
let's say they're doing the full $60 a night. Like, oh, thank you for this. What, you're not appreciative? Like, oh, you don't want it? Okay, we'll find some other bozo who wants it.
Right.
Like,
and this is an entry-level position, by the way. Anybody can get in this job. Trust me.
Yeah. Doesn't mean you'll be good at it, because...
God knows.
Yeah.
And they'll still keep you. And that's a huge problem in itself.
Still keep you.
People will just walk into places, happenstance into these jobs that shouldn't, one, be entry-level without some sort of qualification, I feel like.
Yeah.
And two, they don't get fired. why people want to hold on to bad workers is beyond me, and it's happened in all places. I've worked in kitchens. I've worked in as a department
like Sonic,
head.
there are people where I'm like, he's not listening, like
Right.
and he's not gonna do it, and then the answer for them was just to go yell at him like, "Ha, blah, blah, why didn't you do this? Blah blah blah." Like, no, don't yell at him and like lower his self esteem or whatever. Like
That doesn't help anything.
exactly, tell him to fix it or he's gone. Like
Right.
that's how you fix it. Because if he doesn't fix it, then he's gone and we can get someone else.
And I understand that, working sucks. Everybody hates working.
Yeah.
Well, a majority of us hate working. Easily.
Mhm.
I don't like working. I would love to sit here and read about nonsense, learn new physics and machines and whatnot, but
Yeah.
I can't. I have to work. We all do.
Yeah.
But there's a certain mentality that has to go into work.
Mm-hmm.
You go in and you work. You don't.
You have to work. Right?
Yeah, like there's so many people they just don't. They walk in, they blah all day long. No one fires them, no one writes them up, no one talks to them, no one says, "Hey, your behavior is not meeting XYZ expectations." And this is one of those lessons that I learned as a quality person, which was when you have an employee that's not performing, or in any employee really, the best thing to do is set expectations, to make clear and resolute goals that allow them to progress, even in small steps, because it's going to be different for each
What
person.
sucks is like it's become politics now, to where like if you're close with the boss or whatever, like that's all you need. That's all you need.
That's all you get.
Because like if we're not close with the boss, we could do the best job ever, and then we're caught talking for like a second, and
then
then
you're yelled at.
and then it's like, why were you talking? And then like this happened and this happened. You're like, oh yeah, but they broke 2 boxes of shit. Like they just broke it, and you didn't give him even like a talking.
Not even a slap on the
not
wrist.
nothing. Like not even like a hey, that was kind of a bad
that's
move.
prevalent throughout all of the jobs I've had. There's always been those like special people who are just
Oh yeah.
they're just there, and you're like, I don't understand.
Like the way it translates to Sonic is like I worked night shift. I've always worked night shift. I love night shift.
I've always worked late
and
shifts.
People really shit on night shift for some reason, and I don't know why.
I don't know why people
because
hate night shift.
we-
This is way off topic.
This is way off topic, but
yeah, people really hate night shift.
people really hate night shift, and like I hate it because day shift are just a bunch of babies. Like they come and shit everywhere, and they like make messes.
That's in
and
every
then,
job. Every
then
kitchen
you gotta
I've ever
come in
worked
and
into.
clean up, do the same job that day shift does.
Except harder, because
Except
now
harder
it's a mountain of bullshit.
because you got to do the same job that they do and clean up the shit that they left for you and leave it clean by the end of the night.
So they
and
can
if there's
come in.
even one thing out of place, they're like, "Well, you left this for them in the morning," and I'm like, "It was a water spot that I left in the morning, and they left me." No shit that I need to like feed these people. I gotta go and cook it right away. Put it on the burners. I gotta go do this. I gotta restock the fucking frozen shit. And like,
Yep.
oh, they're the poor babies. Like, dude, I'm picking up your mess. It doesn't matter. I leave everything fully stocked, and it's like just restock as you go.
No, I totally understand. That's been in every job.
I-
Every job that has multiple shifts, at least.
Okay, number one thing wrong with the world: day shift. Fuck you. I hate day shift. Just
If you work in the
if
daytime,
you
you're
work
a
in the
bastard.
daytime, you're a piece of shit, and I hate you. Just well,
That's a
I know
broad,
when
sweet-
I said that hate is like part of the problem, but like if you can't beat them, join them, and I definitely am on board with
That's
hating
what we're
day
jumping
shift.
on. All right.
Yeah, I just hate day shift, and I feel like if we just got rid of them.
There's nothing to say to that. There's
No,
no
that-
way I can even rebuttal that. I semi-agree with you,
It's because
but I don't
I'm
want to.
so right
no,
that like
no.
it's just I'm too right
It's
on
one
that.
of those regimist things.
Yeah, I'll if I ever became president, it would all be night shift because I know that they get the
Just gonna
job done.
flip the world on its
Yeah,
head.
exactly. Like daylight saving times. Just go forward like 6 hours, because like then it doesn't matter what time it is as long as we agree that that's like the working time.
I have a lot of qualms with the idea of like
a day versus the night.
no, like it's just the working hours overall. Why the fuck are we working 40 hours a week to make barely enough to pay for rent? That's crazy.
I actually don't mind the hours at our job.
Well, no, but that's
not all
because
jobs are like that.
No, not definitely. When I worked in an office, I hated it. I would wake up at 6 a.m., get to work by 6:30. I would be there until 5, and it's all, paid, and I had lunches or whatever breaks that would allow them for me to work 8.5 or 8 hours, even though I was there for 10.
Yeah.
Like it's nonsense is what it is. It's unfair nonsense, and I'm spending majorities of, at the time, my day at this place, and then I go home, go to bed, and come back to work, and then I get 2 days off. Like, how is society supposed to move forward without...
I really like the model for our work.
I do too.
Our work
I also
model
like
is...
the medical model. 6 days on, 6 days off, or 8 days off, or whatever.
Right, and that's what I think too, is like... I don't, with the whole like the 8 hours and then 8 hours 5 days a week, there's zero time to first like rest up, recuperate.
Right, because you need 8 hours of sleep.
Right, exactly. And then like the days that you have off, you're just tired. There's nothing. That's when you do your errands as well. Like
you
can't
go
do
out
it during
on
the work
Saturday.
week. Exactly. But with like the way our schedule works is it's 3 days on, 3 days off, 4 days on, 4 days off, or the medical schedule, the 6 days on, 6 days off, or 8 days on, 8 days off. It gives you a long period of time to rest and have that sort of free time to use the money that you make to
pursue hobbies in a concentrated long-term fashion. It's really nice, honestly. That was one of the allures to this job, was that I would have long weekends where I could be like, okay, well, this day I'm going to dedicate to, this. Or doing nothing even. Doing nothing for an entire day instead of, okay, it's Saturday, I got to get my errands done, I got to get my bills paid, I got to get back home, make dinner.
Because then it's on you. Like, it's not the job's fault or anything. It's like, literally, if you don't get your errands done in the weekend.
In the 3-4 days that you have.
Yeah, exactly. That's your fault.
You're just being lazy. But... Okay, so what have we learned today? Education sucks.
Day shift sucks.
Day shift is bad.
Day shift is bad.
The working
That's
field
an objective
sucks.
statement.
Yeah, it is totally non-anecdotal, non-personal,
non-subjective, not my opinion.
I actually heard this on the radio.
Yeah, I read this in a science book.
What else? Okay, so we got the education, politics. We've talked
social
politics.
relationships.
We've talked politics like 1,000 times. We know that shit sucks. Social relationships are degrading. The environment we've talked about, that's degrading. We've got...
Even with the environment, like, people will talk about, like, I care about the environment so much, but then they're avid consumerists where they buy tech, they buy whatever, they buy things that aren't really recyclable. And then also, they, like, asking people to go on, like, a hike now. They're like, you want me to go outside? Like, in the outside?
Last year, I struggled. I only found one person and went on one hike. I used to go on hikes all the time.
We should go on hikes. I didn't know that you liked hikes.
Oh, I love the mountains. I would spend way more time out there if I could, especially morning ones or evening ones.
Definitely, yeah.
That whole 3 o'clock sun is just not my business.
Go on hikes.
Yeah, get outside. Go improve society today.
If you love nature, like if you love the environment, like figure out what you love. Like don't just say it because it's like, oh, we gotta save the environment. Like
You're so anti-trend sometimes. I always forget until you go on these spiels. Like
anti-trend?
Yeah, you hate trendy stuff. You just
yeah.
Especially when it's social in nature.
If you guys like
social political stuff that's trendy.
I don't like it. I don't like you.
All right, guys.
All right. Wait. Let's get our opinion on.
Oh yeah.
This one's a lot better than
Elevated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this one a lot better. I'm introducing him to these. I've introduced him to these both. This is again Mass Ascension by Ex Novo. It's an IPA.
This one's a lot smoother, a lot less bitter.
Yes, it has a lot less of a bitter taste to it. It definitely has like a very drinkable thing.
Oh yeah,
like it's
because the other one I felt it like definitely at like the end of my mouth and like in that like in between my throat and my mouth, and this one it goes down very easy.
Yeah. Very smooth. I don't even know the percentage on this thing. I think it's actually pretty high. 6.9. Not too bad. You could never tell, though. Not with this one. Some of them you can tell. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Ring that bell. And we are working on trying to get the audio platform set up. SoundCloud recently ran into a little bit of a hitch, so we're looking at maybe doing Spotify, maybe another platform. We'll work on it. We'll let you guys know.
Leave comments too. Just like let us know what you think.
Definitely. Make sure to look us up on Instagram for what is it?
Sockshore
Entertainment. And we'll see you guys next.
It might be Sockshore Prod. I don't know. You'll find us.
You'll find us. Bye.